mentioned I started some new YouTube channels, so be sure to check them out in the description below. Alright, so what are we going to be making today? Well, today we'll be making... Okay guys, so we're going to be making some chicken meatballs. So we're going to get started with seasoning our minced chicken, and we can make this chicken meatballs with a pumpkin sauce. So let's get started with seasoning our chicken. To season our chicken, we're going to put some spring onions. So we're going to cut up some spring onions here to put in our minced chicken. My spring onions are rolling away. I don't want them to roll away. All right, so here I have about 4 cloves of garlic. I already smashed my garlic. It's important to smash your garlic. It helps to release the allicin, which has the flavor compound. So always smash your garlic before you chop it up. All right, so we're going to add our spring onions and our garlic to our chicken. Right. All right, so to this now, I'm going to add some green seasoning to it as well. If you don't have green seasoning, well, you can either make your own. I will leave a link in the description showing you how you can make your own, or you can just simply omit it. All right, and like I said, you can omit it as well, okay? It's just that I want to make my chicken meatballs as flavorful as possible. All right, so now I'm going to add about 4 tablespoons of this gluten-free seasoned crumbs. Okay, so this is 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, I'm also going to add 1 tablespoon of nutritional yeast as well. Again, this adds a sort of umami flavor to it. So I'm going to add that. I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of salt. I'm using sea salt. Okay. I'm going to add about a 1/4 teaspoon of allspice. If you don't have allspice, this is allspice here, you can use nutmeg, but and that by adding in nutmeg, it kind of gives it a little, sort of a Swedish twist to the meatballs. Because if you're making Swedish meatballs, you usually put nutmeg in it, but allspice has that hint of nutmeg in it. It has a hint of clove in it, and it has a hint of cinnamon in it, so it's all inclusive. All right, I'm also going to add some dried thyme to it as well. Okay. All right. Also going to add some Mrs. Dash garlic and herbs seasoning blend. Remember, it's all about building flavors, right? And what we're going to be doing, we're going to leave this overnight, so this will have enough time to marinate. Okay. Now again, to stay with that umami flavor theme, we will add about 1 teaspoon of soy sauce, but I'm using tamari, which is a gluten-free soy sauce, and it's not as salty as regular soy sauce, but it's gluten-free. So I'm using about 1 teaspoon of tamari. I would also, again, for that umami, use 1 teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce. This will add that umami flavor profile. All right. Okay. And I'm also going to be adding 1 egg. Now, if it is you don't have egg, there was a video that I did in making this. I did not have egg. You can use a substitute. You could either use mayo, 3 tablespoons of mayo to help with your binding, or if you are sensitive to eggs, I am sensitive to egg whites, but I will use it in this case. But in my other video that I did when I made my chicken meatballs, I didn't have any egg, and what I did, I used veganese. So like I said, you can use 3 tablespoons of either mayo or veganese if it is you don't have egg, or you don't want to use egg at all because you're sensitive to egg. So we have added everything that we need in order to season our minced chicken. So it's now a matter of mixing everything thoroughly, and then we're going to cover with saran wrap, or cling wrap, sorry, and put it in the fridge overnight so it has enough time for all these flavors to marry and make our meatballs nice and flavorful. Alright, so this should be good now, so I'm going to cover it with cling wrap, put it in the fridge, and I'll see you guys back tomorrow. Okay guys, so our meat has been marinating for a while, so now it's time for us to form our meatballs. So what I have here is a bowl with some water, because you want to wet your hands in order to help you to form the meatballs so that it doesn't stick to your hand. Alright, now there are 2 ways that we can cook these meatballs. We could either put it in the oven, or we can do it on the stovetop in some oil, like fry it in some oil, and then of course put it in our sauce, because I'm going to be making a pumpkin sauce for this chicken meatball today. So I'm going to actually do 2 ways. I'm going to do some of the meatballs on the stove and to fry some of them, and the rest of them I'm going to put it in the oven to bake, to cook. And then I will add it to the sauce as well. So what I'm going to do is add a little bit of oil here, because in anticipation of putting it into the oven, I'm just going to brush some oil at the bottom of my pan. All right, so I'm just going to put some water on my hands like that. Just dampen my hand. Then I'll just take out. We're going to form it into our balls. All right, so guys, I'm just going to continue forming these meatballs, and then I'll be back. Okay guys, so I have rolled out my meatballs. So I have my oven preheating at 375 degrees Fahrenheit. So these here that I have in this pan here, I'm going to bake these to cook it. And what I'm going to do to help me is I'm going to use my meat thermometer. I would leave a link in the description if you are interested in purchasing one like this. So it has a probe. So I'm just going to stick it in one of them. You know what? I'm going to need to get a fork or something. Okay, so we're going to be, let's see if I can get it to rest. Right? Okay, so these I'm going to bake in the oven. And these here, I'm going to fry in the stove top. So in that, I'm showing you 2 options, 2 ways that you can cook your meatballs. All right. So I'm heading over to the stove and the oven respectively. So I'm adding coconut oil here. Okay, so we're going to leave our meatballs to cook through thoroughly. Okay, so we're going to be making our pumpkin sauce. So to do that, we're going to add some ghee, or you can use butter, to our pan. You can also use oil as well if you wish. Right. So let's just spread this around. Right. Let me take out a little bit of this. Don't need all of that. All right. So now I'm going to add in my pumpkin, so it can start to brown. So I've just cut up my pumpkin into cubes. And hot pepper, a whole hot pepper as well. I'm going to sprinkle some sea salt on it. I'm also going to add some Mrs. Dash garlic and herb seasoning blend. Alright, so let's just leave this to cook for a little while. Okay, so now I'm going to add in my onions to this. I'm adding my onions. I'm going to add in about 4 cloves of garlic. I'm also going to add 1 tablespoon of gluten-free flour so we can make a roux. I'm going to add a little more of the ghee. So we can cook out our flour. So I'm just going to leave this to cook for a while as I continue to stir. Okay, so to this I'm going to add now some dried thyme. And I'm also going to add some coconut milk. And we're also going to be adding some chicken broth as well, because we want to get enough sauce so we can put our meatballs in. I'm just scraping the bottom of my pan. Now I'm going to add my meatballs back to this, so it will continue warming through in the sauce. Of course, you don't need to use coconut milk. If you can use heavy cream or if you can use regular milk, you do that. Add my meatballs now to this. So I just wanted to show you guys, this is my baked meatballs. So this is how the baked meatballs came out. And this is the meatballs that we cooked with oil over the stove. So we're going to be adding everybody into the sauce. As you can see, the ones that we did in the oil, they are more brown than those that we did in the oven. But I guess if we left it longer in the oven, you could leave it to get color, or what you can do is use the broil. If you use the broil part of your, after it's finished baking, you can broil it. If you use the broil setting, then the top can get brown. You can brown it that way as well. But at least I wanted to show you the different options that you can have in order to do it. We want to taste for salt to see if you would need to add more salt to it. And of course, if you want more gravy, more liquid, you can add either more coconut milk or more regular milk or more heavy cream or more chicken broth. You make it your own, whatever is your preference. You can have this dish with either mashed potatoes or mashed green bananas or mashed breadfruit or with pasta. I think we will have ours with some mashed breadfruit.